Now we're going to move to the point of components, where we start adding components to specific products or adding components with costs to create a product cost for each product we are working on. We do this by pressing components. Then you'll get this list of add components, search components, and purchase orders. We'll start with add component. Click add component. This will open the buy component for stock sheet, where you will enter the vendor where you will buy the component from. Then you will add the component type, what type of component you want to buy, and for which gender, if it's for men or for women, or if it's unisex component, and what color is the component you're buying, what quantity or meters or kilos you're buying from this component, which is the order you will make. If it's buttons, for example, you just write 100, and this means 100 button. If you're buying woven materials, you can buy 500 meters and you will just write 500. If you're buying 50 kilos of jersey fabric, for example, you can just 50 and it means 50 kilos. You get it by common sense. Then you write a description. You could describe anything for the component. You can start uploading its photo. You can put the unit price for the component you're using. This unit price will be very important to calculate the final product cost. Then you can relate it to a specific item number if this component is used for a specific item number. So let's start by adding the vendor. We can say vendor is a latex, for example. We click it. We define the vendors in the admin page. When we need to add any vendor, you will just contact the admin, the administrator of the application, and you can tell him which vendor and you want to add and the information related to him and the documents, and he will add it to you. Then you select the component type. This is maybe an order for buttons, like we talked. And the same. All the components are defined in the admin page. If you need to add any components, you need to contact the administrator to add the components for you so you can select. And the same for all these things. Now we can select women. Then we could choose the color. Say black. We can say we will buy 5,000 button. Then we can write a description. You can write brass as 0.8 millimeter button for jackets. That's just anything that you want to add. Then you could upload a photo from here. Just upload anything. Just if you have any photo, you could just add any photo just to test. Here's the button. Select it. Now it knows the path of the component you selected, and it will upload it once we press add. Then we could put the unit price. You can say it's 0.12, and we will skip relating it to an item. We'll just leave it here open, and we'll press add. Now the component is added. After this, we could press again on the components to search any component orders we have made and to do additional work on them. We could just press select search components from here. Doing this will open this search components page, where you could search by the vendor, you could search by the component type, you could search by the component ID. If the any component you order will have an ID, which is like a serial number for the component you are working with. So you could select by just choosing the component ID or by the status. And this is the status field. If you click it, you will get if it's on hold, or it's purchase order status, or is it received, or is it delivered already. So we could just write what's on hold and press search. You'll get the final sheet, which is the components from Abdeen with the status hold. It will show the ID of the component and the type and the description, the vendor, and all the quantity and all the information you entered. And the actions you could do now, you could do by pressing the yellow pen here. Edit. this will open an update component for stock sheet. It will give you all the information you already entered. You'll have the vendor name written, the component, the gender, and all this. You could add any information you have written and change it to make it as you wish. And this shows how we can update some information related to any components we're working on. The final thing you could do in search components is when you select what you choose, you'll get the list of components you have selected. Then you could start clicking the radio button, the button here, the checkbox here, and then print the PO. Doing this will automatically print the items you've done here, so you can give to the supplier you're ordering it from. And after you're doing this step, you will have the status of these components changed to PO, which means they're not just ordered, they're ordered, and a purchase order is printed down and given to the supplier. Press print, and then it goes directly to the printer and it prints your purchase order so you can give to the supplier. The last part of the components is when you click components, you'll get the drop down menu. You could work on the PO, which means purchase order. By searching PO components, by going to this page of search PO components, you could do as usual by selecting specific vendors or components or component IDs and pressing search. Here you'll have all the components that you've done purchase orders for. All these components will have a status of PO. You'll need this page only if you would like to reprint any component purchase order you have done, so you know how things are going. And that finishes the section of components. Another way of working with components is from the factories page. When you click factories, you'll have add factory, regular, search factory order, and PO and rejected styles. When you already have a factory order that is done, you press search factory order to add some components to any of the products you're working on. You could work on the menus and choose on the drop down menus and choose which factory orders you want to work on. What we do here is we just select the item number we want to work with. Then we go to the yellow pencil on the right side and click it so we can edit the item. Please note that just this area of adding components this way is only possible when you have already made the sales order and the factory order. Then you could add more components to the factory orders. It's not like the other way to just add to stock. Then you'll get the update factory order sheet for this product that you have just selected. It will give you the customer name who ordered this product and the sales order number for the sales order made from this customer, and the customer order line number, which is a specific order number given to each item entered in any sales order number. This says the factory due date, the status within factory order, and the size range selected. Here you'll have all the information you need for the costing of the product. You'll have the factory order quantity that you have entered when the order was made to the factory, and here is where you work on the components. And this is the final factory price that you get by the components we've used already. And this is the total cost of the order, which is this quantity times the cost per piece that is stated here. To add more components or to edit the components, we could work two ways. You could select components from here, select component, then you get this page, and you could start selecting which vendors you want to work with, which component or which ID for the component or which status of components you want to select to add to this order. Here we have selected vendor Mustafa Al-Akkad, and this makes the report looks like this, showing just the vendor Mustafa Al-Akkad products, and you'll have all the other information written here, so you could add the quantity you need. we will say this is a hang tag. We may say this will take just one piece of this product. Just as soon as you add a number here, you'll get the checkbox at the beginning here marked, so it knows this product is added to your product, and then you could go to the end of the page and press select. And then you'll have the cost of the hang tag that we added, adds to the cost per piece here, and after it's multiplied by the total quantity for this item number, you will get the total cost of this order from the factory, taking in consideration all the quantity that is ordered. Something else you could do here is not just selecting components from the components that you already have in your stock list. You could order components that will go directly to the factory. You will not add them to the stock. They are just components ordered for this specific product, for this specific supplier, for this specific purchase order. It will not be stocked in the factory. It will not be stocked in the warehouse. The warehouse will just do the receiving invoice and the dispatch invoice and the dispatch receipt to the factory. So it's just recorded and it's monitored, but it will just go to the factory. You can press add here, and then you could work on selecting on ordering a new component. We could order a component that we have ordered before. If we need to do that, we can reorder it. Or something else you could do here is when you have a specific component that is increased in consumption or decreased, like for example you could say a shirt used 1.5 meters, then after production you realized it consumed only 1.3 meters. You will go here and change the quantity of the components used by pressing edit selected. You'll get all the components used here. Here we just used hang tags. We're just testing. You could update this by saying no, it doesn't take 2 hang tags to do this one, it only takes 1. So you could just change the number to 1 and press close. Automatically updates. Now the factory is updated. Now the factory price is updated by taking into consideration the new component that's been added.